But first, let's just take a look at the college football playoff top 25. And as we do, I'll remind you some facts here. All 10 teams in their top 10 still have a path to the college football playoff, which means that even Ole Miss can get there, but it's going to take some doing. It's going to take some first for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss to do just that. And also add in here that all of the Power 5 conferences have at least one team that is able to make the college football playoff. Some have more than one team, thanks to the SEC and really the Pac-12 standing out among the others. And then Michigan, Ohio State, they got to play each other, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And does a one-loss Ohio State or Michigan get ahead of an undefeated one-loss conference champ in a Texas or Oregon or even a Washington? Even a Washington. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But as I take a look at this, I got no problem with them standing pat for what they did last week because, frankly, everybody took care of business that needed to take care of business. And folks that didn't, they're no longer in this thing. So you're looking at number one Ohio State, who I thought the committee might give some side eye to for going down 9-7 to Rutgers, but then nobody's been able to play with Ohio State in the second half, and they still have the best player in the sport in Marvin Harrison Jr., and that defense is still not giving up more than 17 in any game, right? Looking at Georgia there, they're going to get tried again by another ranked opponent, Ole Miss, following Missouri. Great win for them against Missouri last week, particularly because there was no Brock Bowers. Florida State still undefeated, even if they ain't played nobody, according to me. And Michigan finally gets to play somebody, according to us all. Washington, Oregon, that feels like it's a budding Pac-12 championship, so we'll get one of those. So inside this top 5, somebody's going to have to take a loss, whether they want to or not. And then it's about what is the committee going to do as we go further down there. Now, when I take a look at this, again, I'm looking at my top 25, and we can pick a fight about what we're seeing here or not seeing here. But really quick, before I get into really the news of the day that involves Michigan, gets us into Penn State and Michigan, I want to point out that somehow the committee saw fit to move Tennessee up 4 spots after beating UConn. Saw fit to move Oregon State up 4 spots after beating Colorado, who's now looking at 4 straight losses on the bounce at home if they lose to Arizona this weekend, who's also ranked. And then North Carolina somehow gets in here in the top 25 after losing games in back-to-back weeks against Georgia Tech and Virginia, but beating FCS Campbell, right? I feel like we could put somebody else in those spots. I feel like anybody else really has an argument to be there. It's nice to see Iowa there, though. I did not expect them to do that because, frankly, I felt like I was the only person that was watching Iowa football and got to see, hey, they're atop the Big Ten West. They got 2 losses, and they could be walking straight into what could be a really outstanding season without the starting quarterback in Caden McNamara and making it happen with Deacon Hill. Phil Parker, by the way, ought to be a Broyles Award finalist. I mean, nominations are open for the Broyles Award. And by the way, your head coach has to nominate one of his coordinators to make the list. And the list is going to be released next week. So tell your head coach, if you got a coordinator you think is pretty good, to go put his name in the hat so that Broyles Award voters like myself can go and have an opportunity to vote for your guy. Because frankly, if he don't do it, we can't vote for him. So go ahead and get that done. If you like what you've seen, consider subscribing to the #1 college football show on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcast.